Hey guys, it's Quickie Baby and welcome back to World of Tanks. I've got something really exciting today. I am playing in the brand new Swedish vehicle, the first ever Swedish tank in the game, the Strv M4257, which is an upcoming Tier 6 premium Swedish medium tank that should be hitting the test server later on this week. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to test it ourselves, but also it is going to be hitting the live server in patch 9.16, of course subject to change. And that was the first ever damage I did in a Swedish tank because this was the first ever game that I played in it. You guys might have seen that I was able to play this tank at Gamescom. I played about 25 games over the 5 days that I was there. But this game you won't have seen. This was the first ever game that I actually played in this tank. And I managed to get on Wide Park, and you know when you're on Wide Park in your Tier 6 tanks, you are going to be top tier. Because the highest tier vehicle that there can be on Wide Park these days is Tier 6. Can you believe that this used to be a Tier 10 map? When this was a Tier 10 map, all of the mediums and lights just rushed to here and were able to spot all of the artillery before they'd even managed to leave. So all those artillery haters out there, you're probably a little bit sad that Wide Park is no longer a Tier 10 game. But I digress. I'm talking about artillery and times gone by when I should be talking about what is new, and that is the M4257. I just love those crew voices. It's always nice when you... yeah, when you play the... He's interrupting me here, I can't really focus. My first ever kill in a Swedish tank, thank you very much. What are we going to call him? I don't know. I'll probably have to be calling him Robaz. It's probably one of the only Swedes I know. And I know that's probably actually not his real name. Oh, mate, wait a minute, his real name is Robert. Anyway. That's a bit stupid. Okay, we're going to be calling this tank Robert from now on, I think. As we put one into the back of the T-14 there. So... I'm stopping every time he speaks just because it's... Wow, he really went on there. He really went on there. Oh, it's like the Czechoslovakian tanks all over again. This guy just keeps interrupting me and I have to pay him respect and attention. Okay. Okay, cool, buddy. So, one thing that I must add about this tank is that you might be seeing that it doesn't have an autoloader, and that looks very surprising, considering this is a very French turret, right, guys? This very French turret looks like it should have an autoloader. But it doesn't. At least when I played it at Gamescom. However, on the super test right now, they have actually changed it so that this 75mm with 150 alpha damage does in fact have a 4-round magazine. So that's something to look forward to if you're a bit disappointed seeing that this thing doesn't have an autoloader. Does that mean that this is going to be the first premium medium tank with an autoloader in the game when it hits in 9.16? I guess it is. Thinking about all of the other premium tanks with autoloaders in the game, and I guess the only ones we're really thinking about there are the little French light tank, right? The 1357. Can't really think of any other auto-loading premium tanks. So that's something to definitely take into account when you're looking at this gameplay, is that to all intents and purposes, this tank will have an autoloader in 9.16 unless something rather dramatic changes. And so what we can gain from this is obviously the novelty of having the crew voices. Also, we can check out to see how the tank's mobility is going to be, what the gun depression is like. And talking about the gun depression, on this tank it's actually a rather disappointing 6 degrees. That's not excellent. But one thing that is excellent about this tank is the aim time. The aim time, at least when I was playing this single shot gun, was 1.8 seconds. But I believe on the autoloader now it is up to about 2.21 or 2.3 seconds, not quite sure which one it's going to be. Now, Sweden remained neutral through World War II, as far as I'm concerned, and so they developed this kind of like very defensive ideology with their tanks, right? And so that's, I guess, what Wargaming are trying to do with the Swedish tanks. They want them to be counterpunchers. This thing certainly isn't a Cromwell Berlin. It's not super fast. Its top speed limit is 45? Is it 45? Yeah, 45 kilometers an hour forwards, 20 kilometers an hour backwards. So it's not really going to get anywhere as fast as, you know, the other Tier 6 premium medium tanks, such as the Cromwell Berlin. I think even the Skoda T40 is going to be faster than this vehicle. But one thing that this tank does have is fairly okay penetration for a Tier 6 tank, 148mm. That's not too bad. The alpha damage is also slightly higher than the Cromwell Berlin, which has 135. And this indeed has 150. But the aim time, at least for this gun, when I was playing it, was fantastic. So I was speaking to a few of the high up people at Wargaming related to World of Tanks PC about what they wanted to do with these Swedish tanks, and they wanted to make them the counterpunchers of World of Tanks. And I'm not 100% sure if I can see that with this vehicle, but I can understand what they're suggesting. And I think that's something that they're definitely going to probably develop when we see the full Swedish line come out. And also, when we think about it, can we judge the Matilda Black Prince for the entirety of the British medium line? No, not really. Can we judge the Chi-Nu-Kai for the entirety of the Japanese tanks? No, not at all. And it's the same with the Škoda T40. So, irrelevant of what we're seeing here with the M42-57, if you were hoping for something different from the Swedish line, then don't panic. Remember, this is all... we're all guessing about what the vehicles are going to be. But the fact that this thing is going to have an autoloader might indicate that maybe a few of the Swedish medium tanks will have autoloaders. We can't be entirely sure. Anyway, this has been a great game for this vehicle. I was chuffed considering this was the first ever game I played in the tank. 2,257 damage done so far and 5 kills, and only a solitary Hellcat remaining. But unfortunately for us, he's on 71% of his hit points. That's 401 hit points to be exact, I believe. So we're going to have to hit him 3 times to be able to kill him here. And he only has to hit us once. And he could probably splash a high explosive round on our tank to be able to kill us. So what about the armor on the M42-57? Well, it's 55mm at the front, 30mm at the side of the hull, and 20 at the rear of the tank. So this thing definitely can't take any hits. You might have noticed we did actually ricochet 1 shell in this game. I'm not sure what the caliber of the shell was that hit us there. But apart from that, the other 4 have gone in. And remember, we are top tier here. And 700 hit points, that's, I think, 50 lower than the Cromwell Berlin. We are going to get 2 shot by all 122mm guns, which is not something I'm looking forward to. And God forbid getting hit by a KV2 in this tank here, guys. So the turret armor as well, it's actually even worse than the hull armor. 40 degrees at the front, 20 at the side, and 20 at the rear. At least the front is angled, so hopefully that should provide us with some protection. So what do you guys think about the looks of the Swedish tank so far? Obviously, I'm hiding in a bush here. I love the flag on the side. I think the model is pretty cool looking. It looks very French, you know? I don't know. I thought that it maybe be looking more like a Volvo, but then again, you know, Volvos do look quite French as well, I'd say. Oh God, I'm offending all of my Swedish subscribers out there. So, not really too much else to add about this tank. Its DPM, unfortunately, is really low, and it looks like when they add the autoloader into the game that the DPM is going to go even worse. Now, this might be tuned up slightly more or tuned down slightly less, but currently on the test server, this tank has 1,662 DPM with the autoloader. That certainly isn't going to be killing many tanks very quickly. What's actually happened to the tank on the bottom left-hand corner? Oh, there we go. We fixed it again. So right now, what was I thinking? I was thinking that I want to try and catch the Hellcat, because I remember I have to shoot this guy 3 times. And so I want to try and keep my distance. I want to spot where he is, and then if he was going to come from down here, then I can fall back behind the ridgeline, try and slow the engagement, get the support of my artillery. From this position, I also might be able to get some spots along this way here, and also if he makes his way along here and tries to kill the artillery, I'll also have shots on him there. When you're in this kind of should we say, an unfair advantage for the enemy team, where you have to hit him multiple times, then obviously you don't want to just go and find him in close quarters combat. It's going to take me about 10 to 15 seconds to be able to put 3 shots into the guy, and it's only going to take him, it would take him no seconds to be able to fire his first shot, right? But nevertheless, I also want to be supporting my Su-5. So I want to try and basically use the artillery to scout for me. That sounds a little bit backwards, but in this kind of an engagement, especially in the city maps, it doesn't provide me with any benefit to really get vision on the Hellcat if he's hiding behind a building for the artillery. So I think the artillery's most useful job right now is to try and distract the Hellcat, spot the Hellcat, hopefully then we can isolate him and we can hopefully outplay him. So the Su-5 has gone all the way round the west of the map. I'm making my way in from the east. Where is this Hellcat? Where is he? Oh my lord, he was right there inside the bushes. Will we be able to find a shot through him? The artillery fires over the Hellcat and we miss. What a disaster there. Really unfortunate. But our artillery, the Panzer 4B manages to put a big old hit into that Hellcat. And so that has made it now a fair match, shall we say, a 1 versus 1, where we each have to hit each other just a single time to be able to take each other down. Sudden death at the end of the game. Is he going to come around the corner? I guess his hand was forced because of the artillery possibly about to make a second shot on him. So a fantastic result here for my first ever game in a Swedish tank. I was absolutely thrilled to be able to take down this Hellcat at the end. Fair enough, this matchmaking was very nice as I was on Wide Park and I was top tier, but I was still trying to get a feel for this tank, and I think I picked it up fairly quickly. So here's your close-up in the M4257. I quite the look of the tank. I like the tracks on the back. I love this heavy cabling going on. I love also this kind of rim work here on obviously the oscillating turret. And of course, the Swedish flag is always a nice addition, so you don't have to pay to have them on your tank if you're a big Swedish fan out there. So guys, on a scale of Citroen to Volvo, what do you think about the looks of the M4257? So a great first game for the M4257 here. This was our ace tanker, but I expect that hardly anyone has been playing this, so that doesn't really mean much. But still, 1,281 base experience points is great for a tier 6 tank. We got a Top Gun, we got a high caliber medal, 2,303 damage, 459 assistance damage, and we even made some credits after resupplying that premium Swedish consumable, which the eagle-eyed of you might have seen, I think is coffee and cinnamon buns. So after having such a good first game in this, I wanted to leave at the top of my average experience list like it was some kind of king of Sweden, right? But of course I went on to play it a lot at Gamescom to showcase it for you guys, and after playing it for about 25 games with the non-auto loader, I didn't really think it was anything special. Frankly, the vehicle wasn't really good at anything. 360 meters base view range, 6 degrees of gun depression, very mediocre DPM, no armor, just pretty much an all-round bad tank, I'd say. However, as I mentioned, this vehicle is currently being tested with an autoloader, which will obviously enhance its capabilities massively if they do it in the right way. And so make sure you subscribe and stay tuned to the channel, as I'm going to be doing a full preview on the M4257 when its statistics are finalized. Either way, this video just aimed to give you a taste or an indication of what the Swedish tanks might be, and those crew voices are just awesome. I love the national crew voices in World of Tanks, and it's really good to see that Wargaming have already got them working for the Swedish tanks. And if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like. It really helps the channel out, and let me know in the comments down below everything that you think about the M4257. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.